your vested interest in a character and then whacking them off. Just be like, I really like that character. I'm glad they killed him.
That's what happened to Edgar.
Yeah.
That's what happened to Edgar. I mean, they gassed him.
There was another one in one of the earlier seasons where it was like the CTU director, where they made him out to be this bad guy at first, like, we don't like this guy, and then he started making like heroic moves, and by the time they killed him, you felt for him, you felt for the character, and you didn't want him to die, but he died. Like shot to the back of the head.
Jack had 9 lives. Understandable. Exactly. Jack has 9 lives. And I get that.
But so you heard it first here. There will be a 24 movie. IMDb already has the entry for it.
So then didn't we hear it first?
Which is really funny because IMDb doesn't have David Tennant listed as a voice in How to Train Your Dragon, but he is in fact a voice in How to Train Your Dragon.
Yes. Awesome. He's also
just saying.
He's also the Doctor. He was also the Doctor.
He was the Doctor. Yeah,
he was the Doctor.
He did some readings for How to Train Your Dragon, apparently.
Which is a great movie. You should see it in IMAX 3D.
Yeah.
I plan on seeing that.
You should also see Hubble in IMAX 3D. However, we in Minnesota cannot see that movie in IMAX 3D.
For like another freaking month.
And we don't know why.
They don't love us. We are clearly a second-rate IMAX.
Are they still showing Avatar in the theater there?
Not up here.
No. Okay. But, anyways, to you guys, and I thank you guys again for being on the show, but for those who haven't caught on by now, you guys aren't my usual co-host. This is...
You're never coming back. We hate you.
No.
Just stop talking. God.
No. For everybody who doesn't know, this is Ben and Carrie Ann from SpaceFidcast.com. And they have been doing a valiant effort in the regards of education, in regards to space travel and everything spacey on the internet.
Everything spacey on the... That's our new slogan.
Miranda.
Yes.
Everything spacey on the internet.
That's awesome.
No, seriously, that's our new slogan from now on. Space Vidcast. Everything spacey on the internet. I love it.
Wait, what? I don't get it.
Wow, I am such a dork.
Dude, you didn't know that when you were like, Tron movie! I mean, was that not the dead giveaway?
No. What the dead giveaway was this.
I think so. And then we're all sitting here like, oh, QR code!
But anyways, can you guys, because I'm sure you guys get this question all the time, you've probably talked to other media people, other bloggers like myself, what is Space Vidcast?
It is...
Note how we both turned to each other.
It's everything spacey on the internet?
It's everything spacey on the internet. I think that's...
Space Vidcast is a video podcast with specific focus on human spaceflight. So not just space, and outer space, that is, not as...
We'll do inner space.
Right. How to organize the space in your closet for more room for more shoes.
Inner Space, that was a good movie, by the way. Sorry.
Right. Not necessarily UFOs and alien life forms, and not necessarily specifically astronomy, but human spaceflight. We're very interested in human spaceflight.
Well, we cover all of it, right?
We do.
We have an emphasis. So basically, what we are is we've got a daily podcast that we do, video podcast in high definition. You can get it on spacevidcast.com. For example, today we did one on the James Webb Space Telescope, and then the upcoming
JWST,
and then the upcoming STS-131 mission. Yesterday we did one on something else.
Wasn't it about SpaceX in 131?
Oh, no, not SpaceX. It was about Virgin Galactic and their...
VG. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And the recent test they did with Spaceship 2 and your ability to go into space and how much that will cost and stuff like that.
Are they actually getting closer to putting people in space now, Virgin?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They've got real vehicles now. So they did their first flight test of Spaceship 2 yesterday. That's not... They didn't light the rocket. It's a hybrid design. They didn't light the rocket off. All they did was it's a two-part system. They've got White Knight 2, which is the airplane part, and then Spaceship 2, and they drop you. The spaceship is attached to the plane, and then they drop you off the plane, they'll light the rocket, and they go up into suborbital flight, not low Earth orbit.
Right.
It's suborbital flight. So you're going at around 3,000 miles an hour. It'll cost you $200,000 for what is effectively 5 minutes of space time. You're in space for about 5 minutes. You will feel 0G or microgravity at least.
Right.
It's actual space. You have
You
crossed
get your
the
little
boundary of
M&Ms
space.
out of your pocket and have it float around, and it's all really cool.
And you will be able to...
Hi!
you will have the best view of the Earth anyone's really ever seen, other than, say, the
500 other people.
Well, yeah, yeah.
And the few people that have paid the Russians to go to the International Space Station.
Well, yeah, but
Right.
if you look at all of the humans who have ever gone to space, into suborbital or greater, since the beginning of humanity, it's really only just a few over 500. That's not a lot, and we've been able to go to space since the 60s. That's a long time for only 500 people to go to space. And while, $200,000, that's a lot of money, it's a lot less money than the $60 million or $30 million that they were spending going to the International Space Station on a Soyuz capsule like the Richard Garriott's of the world. Now, there's obviously a big difference. For $60 million, you're staying on the International Space Station for a week, you're conducting experiments, it's a multi-year process with the Russians. I mean, that's a big deal, whereas this is 5 minutes in space.
Right.
But it's still taking that ticket, and it's giving mere mortals access to human spaceflight, given you have to have a lot of money.
But $200,000. People look at a house and say, okay, well, a house might cost me $200,000, and if you really, really want that, you will, figure it out. You'll finance the car, and you'll sell stuff, and whatever it is, you'll figure it out to get to that. And while it's not necessarily as permanent as owning a house per se, but it's still a once in a lifetime kind of experience.
It is. It will be a life changing.
So it's very, very doable for people in general.
But this is just the first step.
Yeah.
The ticket prices will come down. X-Corps is working on a Lynx Mark II spaceplane, which will essentially do the same thing in a different style. They don't do the dropping. They'll actually launch. Like, they take the rocket and they launch like an airplane with the rocket on the ground. And the Lynx Mark II, the estimated price for that, and keep in mind there's no real vehicle with that just yet, is $100,000. Well, that's half the price. So, within 10 years, I expect the ticket prices to come down to, maybe $50,000 to $25,000. Well, that's much more reasonable than...
It's like catching a flight on the Concorde.
Yeah, and again, it's expensive. Let's not pretend. That's expensive.
You're going to space!
But you're going to space.
This is true.
I don't,
You're not going to Florida.
A lot of people ask, well, when am I going to be able to, maybe if I can stay up there for an hour, maybe if I can make a full rotation of the Earth. That's just not going to happen on these vehicles. Realistically, it's all about your velocity. You need to be able to go fast enough in order to stay in a constant state of free fall.
Right.
And these vehicles simply cannot do that. And I don't see anything on the horizon capable of doing that. And space stuff doesn't work at the same pace as technology.
Right.
Technology, you've got Metcalfe's law. You can expect everything to double every 7 years or so and come down in price. With space, not so much. Physics don't change.
Yeah. What about the, there's this, I think he's from California, there's this guy who says by 2012 he's going to do what the U.S. government can and send a manned mission to Mars.
That's not Kurzweil. No, not Kurzweil.
No,
but,
Kurzweil wouldn't
that's
say
not,
that.
I can't remember.
Does his last name start with a Z?
Could be. I don't remember. I just remember seeing an interview somewhere on Fortran.
Zubrin?
Zubrin?
It's not Zubrin, is it?
Did Zubrin say that?
Okay.
Was it 2015? I can't remember.
Here's the thing. A lot of people will say a lot of things when it comes to space travel. And a lot of people will say how the U.S. government does it wrong and how NASA's completely inefficient and how everyone can do everything better. But no one has been able to do it to date. And we've heard a lot of talk from a lot of people with no results. There are companies producing results. SpaceX is a company that produces results. They've got a Falcon 9 on the pad right now, ready to launch. And that Falcon 9 will be capable of bringing humans to low Earth orbit, to up to the International Space Station, via a human-rated Dragon capsule. Now, the Dragon capsule is not human-rated yet, but it is capable of doing that. It has enough power to do that. And that's a big deal. That's $100 million for that flight, and that can bring 7 people up. Well, that's a fifth of the cost of a space shuttle to bring the same number of people up.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And it's the first private, truly commercial private company.
Right.
It's really difficult when we say first private company because that's not true at all. Boeing is a private company. Lockheed Martin's a private company.
Right.
These are the people who help. They